भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ ज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुक्तपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते गिरिराज स्वामी की नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णविष्टाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनि की नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। लोकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयति गुरुयत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणे। So we started this section of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is introducing the subject that he wants to discuss now. So text 39, he said, thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. What is that analytical study? What is that analytical study? Analytical study. Krishna says, so far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. So what analysis did Krishna do? Yes, material body and soul. So he went at great length. He explained 11 to 30. What is the soul and what is matter? All right. So for us to understand what is the soul, Krishna gives the negative of matter. We have experience of matter. Right? So how do I explain what is soul? He gave the negative of matter. Right? That's why Prabhupada wrote a book, Antimatter. Right? Easy Journey to Other Planet. And he spoke of antimatter. Right? So it's the opposite. So if you want to know what is soul. So Krishna said, thus far I have explained this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen. So remember, the process of self-realization depends on what? Hearing. Yes, listen. So throughout, Krishna will use this word. Listen, hear. So now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. So we have already spoken that we are not the body, we are soul. Now this soul is working in this world and creating karma. So now Krishna is going to speak in such a way that there is no karma bandhan. Alright? O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, so we act, we do something, but we do with knowledge. You can free yourself from the bondage of works. So I think for me what is important is that whoever comes, for Bhagavad Gita session, that we come out a different person. So here Krishna is explaining how we act with knowledge. With knowledge. So, and what will happen? We are going to free ourselves from the bondage of works. So this is so we are expected to think about it and not behave as if we are the body. And the symptom, the body. What's the main symptom of believing we are the body? What's the main symptom? Sense gratification, yes, and attachment, yes.
Ignorance.
Yes. So when we have knowledge, we have intelligence. So how do we act? So we said the symptom that we believe we are the body is sense gratification, attachment, and the main one is our ahankar. Don't forget that one, right? Because we are interacting with each other all the time, and we know what happens. It's my ahankar against somebody else's ahankar, and believing that I am the center of the whole universe. We believe everything is rotating around ourselves, isn't it? We look carefully. We believe the sun is rising because I'm getting up.
It's one eye.
Yes.
All the time we are doing eye.
Yes.
That we have to remove.
Yes. So this is the symptom that we believe we are the body. Alright. So to act as soul, meaning that we are not interested in sense gratification. We are not interested in sorry. Yes, we are not we understand what is the meaning of attachment and how it's binding, and we are a little bit tolerant and humble in our relationship with others. So then Krishna glorifies this. Yes.
We have to remember always that we are soul.
Yes.
Every time we have to remember that we are a soul.
Yes.
It's not possible.
Yes. So by practice, Krishna is saying, by practice. We forget. See, what happened is that mainly we've forgotten who we are. Right? And it's deliberate also. We want to forget who we are. Because if we remember who we are, then we'll remember that I'm a nobody. So I have to pretend that I'm somebody. So I very nicely forget that I am a nobody. This is the psychology.
Isn't it also influence of Maya?
Yes, we come under the influence of Maya because we want to forget that we are a nobody. So Krishna allows by the influence of Maya. And this is his spell over the soul. We are tiny, we are dependent, Only Krishna's Swarat, Krishna's Vibhu, we are Anu, right? We are just one tiny particle, and Krishna insignificant, that we want, to believe that I am so great. So when I have this mentality, then I'm put in this world, and then the energy called Maya make me believe that indeed I'm very great. So I act as if I'm great, and everybody on earth acts as if they're very great. Even that mosquito acts as if he's very great. Right? He has a share of your blood. Right? So, and we know very well what's the value of a mosquito. You give one slap and he's gone. Right? But his ahankar is such that how dare he come and touch me and suck my blood? How dare he do something like this? But he does it. And it doesn't matter whether you are a king, right? Right? It doesn't matter whether you are the king or you are the nobody in the street. The mosquito's ahankar is such that there is no discrimination. Right?
Non-human beings also have ahankar.
Sorry?
Non-human beings also have ahankar.
The jeev.
All jeev have ahankar.
The jeev, yes. Yeah, the jeev.
All living entities.
Yes. From Indra down to Indra go.
Down to end.
Yes, from Indra down to Indra go. This jeev has a certain ahankar, and then he get a machine. Prabhupada was explaining one lecture. He get a machine through which to operate his ahankar. So that mosquito has the ahankar of drinking blood. This is his need. He's material first. So, like Bhima Prabhu told us, he said that those who eat meat, right, they're put in the bodies of mosquitoes. Because there they can suck only one drop of blood.
That's why so many conspicuous.
Yes. So you are allowed only one drop of blood. You want to drink blood like a vampire, right? So you are allowed only one drop of blood. So become mosquito, and then your lifespan is so short, right? Okay. So my point here is that when we study Bhagavad Gita, knowledge should come to us. We cannot remain in ignorance and just listen and then go back and be the way I was the previous day. We've got the whole week to practice before we come back again and listen for another dose of what Krishna has to say. Right? But actually, every day we should be hearing. Then we'll remember. Are we listening every day? Every day we should have some recording. Either we go to the temple and listen to the classes, or we should listen to the thousands of recordings of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Every single day we should listen. Because we forget. So, Krishna said that he's going to give you knowledge which will free us. No, he will give us knowledge how to act, how to behave in this world, so there is no karma bandhan. There's no karma bandhan. And then Krishna says, in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution. Even if I'm not able to follow that path completely, even if I fail one third of the way, one fraction of the way, whatever little bit I have done, Krishna said there's going to be permanent effect. In this endeavor, there is no loss. You have nothing to lose, and you won't be decreased also. No diminution. You won't become less than you were before. At least one step we have taken forward. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So the ahankar of the jeev, especially human beings. This is where the whole trouble starts, with human beings. Animals are simply being punished. Finish. Human beings, they are creating their future. So Krishna is saying here, so the soul is has so much ahankar that we don't fear to offend somebody. Right? We don't fear to commit something that's illegal, that's illicit, what we call sinful activity. Without hesitation, we do it. And the result Krishna is saying is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So here Krishna is saying, if you will follow the path that I'm going to tell you now, even if you don't complete the process, you will still get some good result. And the best result is that you are not going to be placed in lower species of life. The most dangerous type of fear. Trayate mahato bhayat. Then 41. Those who are on this path, the path that Krishna is describing, are resolute in purpose. And their aim is one. O beloveds, child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So why is it that somebody is not able to stick to this path or even take it up? Vyavasayatmika buddhir. And the other one is buddhayo vyavasayinam. Two types of people is being described here. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. Everything is depending on what? On knowledge. Yes, on knowledge. On knowledge. It says here on intelligence, buddhi. Somebody whose intelligence is fixed. So Bhagavad Gita is meant to fix the intelligence. And what other type of person exists?
The one who is engaged in Krishna consciousness.
These are those whose intelligence are fixed. And the other one is what? Yeah, what specifically how Krishna describes him according to this verse. We are on text 241. Chapter 2. Many branch. His intelligence is many branch. Bahu Shakha.
That means they are like worshipping many demigods.
One
They are not
of
fixed
it.
to one god.
This is one thing that they do. Bahu Shakha means their intelligence is divided in so many places. Bahu Shakha hi anantasya. So many ways where they are applying the intelligence. They're checking out everything. Right? They're checking out everything. They don't know what they want to do. They don't understand what is good for them. They will also come to Krishna conscious, check it out and see whether I like it or not. And then they go. Right? But somebody who's using the intelligence, who's studying. So understand one thing, that the Jeev has been endowed with a great facility. The Jivatma, even though he falls down into this material world, but there is one capacity that Krishna gives him. That capacity is intelligence.
Knowledge only.
The Jeev falls in this material world and he becomes forgetful. He forgets who he is. He forgets his position that I'm Anu, I'm tiny, I'm dependent. He tries to believe that I'm great, I can do everything by myself. And the whole world is rotating around me. That's the ahankar of every Jeev. But when the Jeev is placed in the body, Krishna gives an endowment in that body. He gives him intelligence. Yes. So, all Shastra is appealing to the intelligence of the Jeev. Like even with a child, you try to reason out with a child, right? At all stages of life, you try to talk to the person, you try to reason with him. Because this is one endowment that we have got from the Supreme Lord, intelligence. So when that intelligence is Bahushakha, going here and there, then that intelligence becomes dangerous. Not fixed. So that intelligence takes a specific shape, which is given in the purport. That intelligence takes a shape. What is that shape? It becomes faithful. Shraddha. The word Shraddha is used. Shraddha shabde vishwasa kahe sudrida nischay Krishna bhakti kaile sarva kam krita hoy. It becomes faith where? In who? In Krishna. In Krishna, yes. Everybody has inherent in him some type of faith, which will be discussed at length at the end of Bhagavad Gita. I think maybe chapter 17, divisions of faith. But every jeev has with him some faith. What is that faith? What is that faith?
Trust is there.
Some trust, yes. What's that trust? Why do you trust? Why do you have to trust?
It is unlimited trust, the faith that anything can't go wrong with it. I trust the God to that.
Yes. So we have put our faith in God. Yes, we can trust Him. He will never let us down. He's a tutor. Now I'm speaking about the word faith. Everybody has, whether you are surrendered to God or not, everybody's got some faith. What is that faith? We say trust. Trust in what? Why do we trust? Understand the psychology.
At least the devotee have Shraddha. That's
Yeah,
really
I'm not speaking of devotees. I'm speaking in general.
all in general.
In general.
Things apply to this.
No, this is Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahi Sudrida Nischay Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krit Hai. Now I'm speaking of this faith, this word faith. Everybody has some type of faith, right? Everybody. And we say trust. Why? Where are they putting their trust? Why they have to trust? Why even that word exists? Think about it. Why does it even exist? Sorry, it gives mental peace, yes. See, it gives mental peace, that's what.
The world.
To exist in the world, yes. What more? Just analyze and understand what's going on.
Somewhere we can surrender.
Yeah, a place where we can surrender and give our anxieties. Yes. Nandita, why trust? I have to trust. I go to the shopkeeper, I have to trust him. I step in the auto, I have to trust him, right? I go in the plane, I have to trust the pilot, right? So what's that? What does it indicate? Yes, exactly. To protect ourselves. What does it indicate? Hare Krishna.
That trust that He will take care of us.
Yeah, she can sit behind it.
From any kind of negative.
Sorry?
From negative and
Positive
negativity.
energy.
I'm speaking in English. Is it okay for her? She's fine.
I haven't got her outing dates.
Okay, fine. Let her sit.
She's a Krishna bhakt, so
Alright,
I thought
she
it
can
was
just,
nice.
let me just sit. Sorry?
What do you say?
Yes, so we, the reason, we want to protect ourselves. What does that mean?
We find negativity around us.
Meaning, what does it indicate? What does it indicate? You know, the psychology behind it, which is actually hidden, meaning that we are always dependent. Right? We are always dependent and we have to put our faith somewhere. it shows by nature the soul is dependent,
Of course.
right? It shows we are dependent and there's just no way out of it. So therefore we have to put our faith somewhere. So this person who's many branch, Bahu Shakha, he's Bahu Shakha, he Anantascha. He puts his faith here and then he says, no, this way. No, this way. He keeps on going everywhere where to put the faith. So here Krishna is saying that I'm going to tell you something. You will succeed on this path only if you will put your 100 faith in what I'm going to tell you. Alright? And he's saying this faith is based on your
When you surrender.
on your what? No, it's based on your
Trust.
trust, faith, on your what? Look in the book, look in the verse. Your Shraddha is based on what? Look in the book.
This language I don't understand.
Unflinching trust.
In your what? It's dependent on what? Your
Is
trust,
it the
interest,
knowledge?
on your
Knowledge.
knowledge. Yes, it's on your knowledge. Another word Krishna is using here is 241. Yes, buddhi. Yes, your faith is based on your buddhi. It is an intelligent faith. Alright? This is what Krishna is saying. It's not a faith. At some point, it will just become blind faith because then it's you just trust. Krishna is there. But it is an intelligent blind faith.
But that is also surrender.
Yes.
When you do blind faith,
Mm.
you will be surrendering.
Yes, but it starts with intelligence. Otherwise, any Tom, Dick, Harry, this Baba, that Baba comes and surrender. Right? That's what we do. So here, Krishna is saying intelligence. Vyavasayatmika buddhir. Krishna is speaking with, appealing to our intelligence. So this is the point here. And now let's read text 42-43. That's where we reached. Chapter 2, text 42-43. Yamiman pushpitam vacham Ravavandanti together. Ravadantya vipaschitaha Vedavada patha Nanyat astiti vadinaha Kamatmana swarga para Janma karma phala pradam Kriya vishesha bahulam Bhogaeshwarya gati prati.
Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruited activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than that. This.
Yes, so now Krishna is giving one category of people how they use their intelligence. Bahu shakha hi anantascha. So previously Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekaha kuru nandana. So somebody, you will be successful on the path that Krishna is describing if our mind is fixed only in Krishna consciousness. And now Krishna is giving a category of people whose intelligence, whose knowledge is what? Small. They have small knowledge. Avipaschitaha. Avipaschitaha means man with a full fund of knowledge. Vipaschitaha means somebody who is learned. What it means, somebody who has the light of knowledge, who's able to see. It comes from the word pashyati, perceive, vipasyati. So a learned person, somebody who is able to see, avipashitaha, meaning someone who cannot see. Hare Krishna, come. Somebody who cannot see. Yes. So they are attached to what? To the flowery. What does that mean? Flowery. Flowery means very nicely spoken. Very nicely spoken. It's poetry, in great poetry. The flowery words of the Vedas. And it's attractive. It's attractive, so we hear about it and we become attracted. So what are the words of the Vedas recommending? You do this karma kand, you will go to heaven. So these people, what do they want? They want high birth, they want power, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribir. They want beauty, opulence, I mean different types of opulence. And for them, they say there's nothing more than this. Alright? I'm just, before we forget about the intelligence, so now Krishna, understand that Krishna speaks in a very systematic way. Every chapter, every section of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks in a very systematic way. He starts with an introduction, then he gives he glorifies the particular topic that he's going to discuss, and he will summarize the points that he's going to speak, and then he's going to elaborate. So he starts by speaking about men who have little knowledge. So these people, they are attracted to Swarga. So they perform karma kandya, which is given in Veda. Alright? So now Prabhupada is going to give the purport to this verse. Yes.
People in general are not very intelligent, and due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities recommended in the Karma Kand portions of the Vedas. They do not want anything more than sense gratificatory proposals for enjoying life in heaven, where wine and women are available and material opulence is very common. In the Vedas, many sacrifices are recommended for elevation to the heavenly planets, especially the Jyotishtoma sacrifices. In fact, it is stated that anyone desiring elevation to heavenly planets must perform the sacrifices, and men with a poor fund of knowledge think that this is the whole purpose of Vedic wisdom. It is very difficult for such inexperienced persons to be situated in the determined action of Krishna consciousness. As fools are attached to the flowers of poisonous trees without knowing the results of such attractions, unenlightened men are similarly attracted by such heavenly opulence and the sense enjoyment thereof.
Is it clear? Is it clear? Sanskriti, you can follow? You can see? So, Prabhupada is making the first point, people in general are not very intelligent. Alright, so remember the main theme that we've been discussing is intelligence. Right? And Prabhupada is saying, people in general are not intelligent. So they will go to temples, or they will have their own home, they will have temples. And what for? For sense gratification. At the most, to go to heaven. No, they think that here there's not enough enjoyment, so better I go to paradise, I go to heaven. And in Vedic literature also there's Swarga. Christian, Muslim, Hindus also, they have one major aim is heaven. Right? So Prabhupada is saying that actually this is like the flowers of poisonous trees. These are flowers of poisonous trees, and we want this, it looks very attractive. But the point is that if you have this, it's going to kill the soul. Right? Go on.
In the Karma Kand section of the Vedas, it is said, Apama Somam Amrita Bahuma and Akashyam Ha Vai Chaturmashya Yajna
Yajna.
Sukratam Bhavati. In other words, those who perform the 4-month penances become eligible to drink the somras beverages to become immortal and happy forever. Even on this earth, some are very eager to have somras to become very strong and fit to enjoy the sense gratifications. Such persons have no faith in liberation from material bondage, and they are very much attached to the pompous ceremonies of Vedic sacrifices. They are generally sensual and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. It is understood that there are the gardens called Kanana, in which there is good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women and having a profuse supply of somras wine. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to such material, temporary happiness as laws of the material world.
So this is one category of people, and it's most people that's what they want. So today in Kali Yuga, people don't so much do the karma kand, sacrifices. What do they do? What do they do? They do it in a very sinful way, right? They do it very. Just go outside, you see all those billboards, right? They're showing the woman, right, and the wine. That's what it is. So, but in the Vedic Shastra, so you follow the Vedic system, and basically it's the same thing for enjoyment, right? And they want the somaras. So somaras, you could say it's liquor that's also available on earth, not of the same power as in the heavenly planets, but maybe through Ayurvedic treatment, right? How is it that an old woman looks young, right? So they must be drinking somaras to give pleasure to the opposite sex, right? So they build up their body, they know how to make their body look young. And they spend thousands and thousands to look. We can't afford it, so we look old very soon. But some old women, they look young because they invest their money in somaras, right? The spa and God knows what. So this is basically so they are not concerned about liberation. So they will perform Vedic sacrifices either to enjoy on earth or to go and enjoy in heaven.
But Mataji, I have a question. When these things are considered as not good, then why is given in the heaven? I mean, just thought in my mind.
Why? Because this is what people want.
When we are doing anything, sacrifices also, that is a good part that we are doing it. That is a good actions of ours.
Yes.
So that is the reason we are promoted to heavenly planets. When there also we are getting the wine and women, I'm just asking.
Yes, so, because here Prabhupada speaks about it in the last sentence. Such bodily happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, there are those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness as lords of the material world. So we have come in this universe to be a lord. This is how we started off our whole discussion. We have come in this material world to be somebody. Right? We have come here to dominate a certain area, to be known as somebody, to be most beautiful, most intelligent, and learned, the richest, most powerful. Right? These are the anarthas of the soul, and you come in this material world. So the Vedic Shastras say either you do it the way they are doing it now, or you follow a system. The Vedic system is that you follow this, and at the same time hear Shastra. Keep on hearing, keep on hearing. Because by hearing, if you follow the instruction of Shastra, one day the intelligence may awaken. Because what happened, by this coming up and down from heaven, Krishna will speak later, he said, you go to heaven, but then you have to come down. This is the whole system here. So those people who have been in heavenly enjoyment, when they fall down on earth, they want to go back there. So they again perform the same sacrifices to go back there. You know, the soul is very powerful. We are enjoying in a very gross way. In these days, we are enjoying very gross way. We don't eat. This is enjoyment. We don't even know how to enjoy. Before, you could enjoy by having a nice plate of food in front of you. Now what do? You go to the shop to buy canned food. So you don't even know how to enjoy. Right? And the heavenly planets, these are refined people who know how to enjoy. So when we come on earth, we want it back. So we go up and down, up and down. But while we go in that cycle, if you have a proper priest, he will stop telling you, you're not the body, you're soul. Alright? And it has to be hammered in. Just see, you went up there and you have to come back. So, and you have to die. Even if you go to heavenly planets, still you have to die. So it's fruitless, your endeavor. It's temporary. You can't maintain your post. You have to come down. And this is the system that Krishna has made when creating this world. Very intelligent. If Krishna created this world that you can never maintain your post permanently. Right? And even your beautiful body gradually becomes ugly and then vanishes. But the soul remains same. Eternal. Right? So why we go through this cycle? In order just to pound it into the head of the Jeev, it's useless what you are doing. Then we may inquire about something higher. Alright? So there's karma, it begins with animal life, sinful life. Then the next rung in the development of the soul is karma kand. So this is one rung here. So Krishna is saying they're not very intelligent. Next. Bhogaishvarya prashaktanham daya paharita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhuna vidhiyate.
In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotion and service to the Supreme Lord does not take place.
Yes, so in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, so the mind which is vyavasayatmika buddhi, this is the one, this is bhoga aishwar prasakta taya pahrita chetasam, apahrita chetasam, cheta, your chitta, your thoughts, your conscious, your inner mind, your consciousness is so absorbed in sense gratification. So for them, the determination to practice bhakti cannot happen. Alright? I want to, but then I let go. I come forward again, but then I'm pulled back. What is the problem? I'm too attached to sense enjoyment. So let it wait next life. I'll do it next time. Let me enjoy now. Or let me do it later in my old age.
Many people say, there is only one life, let us enjoy. It's a very common thing.
Yes, so these are people who are completely ignorant. But then there are those who also know. They know their souls. But the desire for sense enjoyment is too much. Bhoga aishvarya prasaktanam. Asakt. Attachment. Saktanam. We have asakti, right? Now prasaktanam, meaning we are firmly, we are like that octopus, We grab something and we hold on, and we are not going to let go. Right? And the octopus has got how many? 8. My God. Can you imagine? Tentacles, right? And it grabs. It doesn't let go. It doesn't let go. 8 tentacles, octopus. Right? 8. So the mind, grabs with all its limbs. It grabs onto sense gratification, doesn't let go. Right? So even if it's trying to let go, 1 is going, there are 7 that's pulling back. Right? So Krishna is saying these people, they cannot take to Krishna consciousness. Yes.
Samadhi means fixed mind.
So samadhi. Alright?
The Vedic dictionary, the Nirukti, says Samyak Adhyate Asmin Atma Tattva Yatatmyam. When the mind is fixed for understanding the self, it is said to be in Samadhi. Samadhi is never possible for persons interested in material sense enjoyment and bewildered by such temporary things. They are more or less condemned by the process of material energy.
Yes, so we want to be in samadhi. You know, it's like a word that floats everywhere in India, right? Samadhi. We appreciate people who are in samadhi. But the point is that we can be in samadhi. Right? Samadhi. What does that mean? Samadhi.
Fixed mind.
Yes, your intelligence, buddhi, your mind, your intelligence doesn't waver. Sama. That's fixed. It doesn't waver. So what is that samadhi? I've made up my mind that I want Krishna. It doesn't matter whether I am successful or not. It doesn't matter. So long as my determination is fixed. You're successful when your determination is fixed. We fail when we don't know what to do. You know, I keep changing my mind. Yes, wavering mind. Even materially, you could say if you're in samadhi, you want to achieve something, and your mind doesn't waver. You just go and go and go. You will get it. You will achieve it.
Isn't it true that Prabhupada was in Samadhi, right?
Of course.
Once he got the instruction from his
Yes. Samadhi.
So fixed.
Yes.
His objective.
Yes. Yes. Fixed. Completely, absolutely fixed. So all of us who are here, let's fix our goal. It doesn't matter how strong I may be. The most important thing is to fix our goal. If that is fixed and we don't change it, Krishna will make us walk through the path. Alright? Yes, so samadhi is never possible for a person interested in material sense enjoyment. So, you know, on one hand, I want the cushions, you know, I want the wine, I want all the comforts. And on the other hand, I want the prized jewel of Krishna Prema. Right? So some sacrifice is required, right? We are not going to get Krishna without sacrifice. What do we sacrifice? Sense gratification. Yes. 45. Traigunya vishayat veda nishtay gunyo bhavarjuna nirdvandro nitya sattvosti Shimir. Sorry, can we recite it again? Traigunya vishaya veda nishtay gunyo bhavarjuna nirdvandro nitya sattvasto niryoga shima atmavan.
The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the 3 modes of material nature: O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self.
So Niryoga Kshema, Niryoga, Prabhupada is explaining this, Niryoga Kshema, free from ideas of gain and protection. So the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. We already explained this. The Vedas, they are explaining how we can enjoy this world. Alright? O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Go beyond these gunas. Be free from all dualities. Nirdvando. Dvanda means sometimes this way, sometimes that way. In duality. Do not do. In duality.
Maybe one.
Yes. And so nirdvanda. So I am like between two minds. Should I take to Krishna consciousness or should I enjoy life? Whether in an illicit way or in a legitimate way. But the point is sense gratification and enjoyment. So Krishna consciousness is completely beyond enjoyment, material sense enjoyment. There is spiritual enjoyment, which is opposite to material sense enjoyment. Material enjoyment means I enjoy myself. Spiritual enjoyment means that I accept Krishna as the enjoyer and has agreed to supply enjoyment to him. And when I supply enjoyment to Krishna, I also enjoy. For example, let's say a fruit. I say I want to have a fruit. Right? And I go to the market and I see different grades of fruit. So I will say, let me pick the best. Why? I want to offer to Krishna. Right? I'm offering the best to Krishna, but what do I get in return? I eat the best. But if I'm in anxiety, I don't know whether I can afford the best, then I will settle for the mediocre. Because it's me. So I always settle for the mediocre. But I'm thinking, no, it's for Krishna, I will always settle for the best. This is how a devotee enjoys. In everything. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety. We already spoke about that. Was the faith, we want to trust for our protection, right? We are always scared. So be free from all dualities and from anxieties for gain. So why is it that we are always anxious to secure things for ourselves? Because to be safe, yes. And what is it? The body is never secure. The body can be killed, can be attacked. And the mind can be offended by the insult of others. So we draw like a distance between ourselves and people. We don't want people to come close to us because we don't know what they'll do to us. Right? So we are always in anxiety for my gross or subtle safety, for my physical or my mental safety. And this is because we are identifying with the body. We don't understand that there is a difference between the body and the soul. Yes, Faith?
All material activities.
Yes.
All material activities involve actions and reactions in the three modes of material nature. They are meant for fruitive results which cause bondage in the material world. The Vedas deal mostly with fruitive activities to gradually elevate the general public from the field of sense gratification to a position on the transcendental plane.
Yeah, we have discussed this. How if we follow Krishna's system, then he will make sure that we are hearing the knowledge. Yes.
Arjuna, as a student and friend of Lord Krishna, is advised to raise himself to the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy, where in the beginning there is Brahma Jignasa, or questions on the supreme transcendent.
Yes. So here this is the next point, that we are enjoying in this material world, but then we are poked by suffering to inquire about the absolute truth. So suffering is it's a main impetus to inquire about the absolute truth. Why am I suffering? This is the beginning of human life. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So this, yes. So this is the transcendental position of Vedanta philosophy. Yes.
All the living entities who are in the material world are struggling very hard for existence. For them, the Lord, after creation of the material world, gave the Vedic wisdom advising how to live and get rid of the material entanglement. When the activities for sense gratification, namely the Karma Kanda chapter, are finished, then the chance for spiritual realization is offered in the form of the Upanishads, which are part of different Vedas, as the Bhagavad Gita is a part of the fifth Veda, namely the Mahabharata. The Upanishads mark the beginning of transcendental life.
Alright, so here we have the Karma Kand section. Then you come to the Jnana Kand. So this Jnana Kand is the knowledge part of the Vedas, which is explaining how we are not the body but we are souls.
As long as the material body exists, there are actions and reactions in the material modes. One has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities, such as happiness and distress, or cold and warm, and by tolerating such dualities, become free from anxieties regarding gain and loss. This transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the goodwill of Krishna.
Alright, so we can't avoid happiness and distress. Sukh, dukh, we can't avoid this. So when we are in the body is, so we do something and there is a reaction. Whatever we do, there is a reaction to it. This is the nature of the material world. So, so one has to learn tolerance in the face of dualities such as happiness and distress. Sometimes I'm good to you, sometimes I'm nasty to you. It happens to us every day. You know, you try to please somebody and then you displease somebody else. And then that other person just reproach you. Right? Right? So then it goes some mental distress. So here, I mean, you know, whatever Krishna Prabhupada is describing here, if you follow the path of Krishna consciousness, you will see how peaceful you become. This material world is so nasty. People are always ready to blast you. But you will become peaceful. One has to learn tolerance in the face of duality such as happiness and distress. Why? Because we can understand that everybody is under control of material nature. And we should know that whatever we may be experiencing in this material world, Krishna finally is in charge. Otherwise, we'll be completely crushed by the bodily suffering, by the mental sufferings. So this transcendental position is gained in full Krishna consciousness when one is fully dependent on the good will of the Lord. I want to achieve something. I have a goal. I want to achieve something. And you know, anyway, speaking for myself, like if I have a project I want to do, I do want to succeed, right? I do want to succeed. And when, if things are going wrong, I do become depressed, right? Say, why it's happening, I get upset. But then, say, I'm doing this for Krishna. Let him decide, right? We are doing it. That's how you're so happy and peaceful. It's required that you put in the energy you want to achieve. Like Prabhupada, he was very proactive. This is the modern language, proactive. He went out at the age of 70. He went out of beautiful India. He went out into the US, 70 years old. Right? He has a focus from the age of his early 20s. He was fixed. Whatever instruction his Guru Maharaj has given, he wanted to do it even when he was 70 years old. He's still fixed. Why was he working? He wanted to succeed. He was trying in India. Wasn't working. He tried this way, that way. He wants to succeed. He said, no, my Guru Maharaj said it. He wants to succeed. Finally, he did succeed. Right? Yes, it was simply an unfoldment of all the experience that he gained in the lifetime of preparation. And he did it in 10 years only, he did everything. Right? So, he did it. So, this transcendental position is achieved in full Krishna consciousness. When one is fully dependent, don't forget this, dependent on what? The goodwill. Please don't. We have to read carefully every sentence of Prabhupada. Dependent on Krishna. Okay, dependent, but not on that. Goodwill, whether Krishna wants it or not. Or is it that I want Krishna to help me achieve my purposes? Right? Krishna should want it. Krishna, is it your desire? Yes, it's your desire, then he will make it happen.
I had an experience very recently. I was expecting my retirement after 2 years. Okay. And then suddenly I was told by the company that I have to retire in February. I went through that entire emotion of, feeling lost. Now what do I do? How do I take this forward? And then I said, leave it to him.
You joined us, I'm looking for you. Isn't it? I'm looking. I saw you. I'm saying I need somebody who will take forward our mission for Prabhupada. Here you are, you got the early leave. Good will of the Lord.
I was going to say,
isn't it Smita? You came and I said, I need help.
I haven't completed. I left it to him, and he's found me another job.
You found another job. You again get.
I have to work for another year. So after that, I'm 1 year.
Okay, so we give you 2 years, but before that, you have to start.
Yes.
You have to start. We need experienced ladies. These kids are not going to do it. It's the experienced ladies who will do it. We need you. We need you to do it. We are doing this for the future generation. For us, it's already too late. Right? So we are just going to do what we can. But these young children, these girls, let's do something for them. For these children. It's because with us, we will understand little bit and then we will run back 10 steps behind. We will hold on to our attachments, isn't it? But if we will engage in Krishna's service, the benediction, we can make up for all those years that we have lost. Simply by doing little seva for Krishna. Krishna is so grateful that even at the time of death, if we take his name, we do a little bit of seva, he make us jump so many stages. So I'm waiting when we're going to have a meeting, alright? and she's in the advertisement field, which is right now what my whole focus now is advertisement, right? In the advertisement. This is my main focus right now. Yes. So text 46. Yavanartha udapane sarvata samputodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha.
All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them.
Yes.
The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedic literature are meant to encourage gradual development of self-realization.
So this is clear? This is clear why we have this Karma Kand section. Because the Jeev has come in this material world with a thirst for enjoyment. And Krishna has to give it to him. And if he doesn't give it to him, he's going to be a criminal. Alright? He's going to do it in his own style. So therefore Krishna gives the rules and regulations. Okay, you do it this way, this way, this way. They acknowledge an authority. In criminality, it means I acknowledge no authority, I do it my way. So the Karma Kand section simply creates a mood of surrender in the person. So its aim is self-realization, but it is a step by step. You know, you can't take away the enjoyment, the one thought, from somebody who's a drunkard. You can't do that. You have to wean him out of it. Isn't it? So we are intoxicated with the desire for sense enjoyment. So one shot we can say, okay, forget it all, just go and worship Krishna. We're not going to do it. Yes.
And the purpose of self-realization is clearly stated in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, the primal cause of everything. So, self-realization means understanding Krishna and one's eternal relationship with him. The relationship of the living entities with Krishna is also mentioned in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The living entities are part and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, the revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge.
Yes. Yes. So the Vedas, they prescribe Karma Kand in order to satisfy the desire of the Jeev who want to enjoy this world. At the same time, they give knowledge. Alright? That you are not this body, your spirit, soul, and you go there, you enjoy, but then you have to come down. It's like you go to America, you spend your money in Hawaii, and then you come back zero. And again, you have to work hard for another holiday somewhere in Dubai. Right? So Hawaii is too expensive, now you go next door to Dubai. Right? So when you do this, so meaning that you're going lower in your enjoyment. So then you start thinking it's foolish, at the end of the day, this enjoyment is so temporary. So you start thinking, so what is the reality? I'm wasting my time. Right? And Krishna has made it this way in order to knock some sense in us. Alright? So now, what is the purpose of self-realization? Prabhupada is saying. Number one is to know about Krishna. And to know that we have a sambandh with Krishna. Right now, we've given up the sambandh. So what do we do for sambandh? What do we do for sambandh?
Love Krishna.
No, we have given up the relationship with Krishna. What are we doing now in this?
establish the relationship
among,
all of us towards Krishna.
no, this is forgotten. This is forgotten. So when we come in this material world, we forget our relationship with Krishna. What do we do in this world?
Reviving.
What do people do?
Working independently.
Yes? Yeah, we work independently. What about relationship? Yes. So what do we do? What do we do?
We are engaged in material.
Yes, we create sambandh with others. Right? We look for friends. We look for company. Right? We look for husband.
They
We
are
look,
also part and parcel of Krishna.
yes, but here we say we don't recognize a part and parcel of Krishna in this material world. Is it? We don't see that they are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is forgotten.
How would we forget?
Yes, exactly.
He's part of us. Then we cannot forget him ever.
Yes. We look at the world separate from Krishna. We look at a girl as the age comes.
Artificial relationship towards other people.
Yes.
Where there's nothing, no goal, no end, no
Yeah.
return.
Yes. Huh? Yeah, we just go, we want to make relationship with husband and then the children and then the father, mother, sisters, brothers. We want this someone and they're simply ephemeral. It's willow whips, what you call that? It seemed to be floating up Akash Pushpa, right? They say it's a flower in the sky. It appeared in the sky and then it's gone. Right?
Because parents go away, children go away.
Yes. 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 You know those people who you love so much. You know, one by one the list is drawn. The list is drawn one by one. They go away. So that's somebody
It's temporary.
temporary. It's so painful. Yes, so painful. So Krishna is saying that Prabhupada is explaining self-realization means that I know and accept my sambandh with Krishna. This is the meaning of self-realization. And we are peaceful then because I depend on Him. Yes, go on.
Oh Lord, a person who is chanting
Aho bata swapachot gariyan yaj jivagre vartate nama tubiyam te pustapaste juhu shasnur arya brahmanuchur nama grinanti yete.
Oh Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family, is like
No,
that of a
no,
Chandal.
although born of a low family like that of a Chandal. Yeah.
Dog eater is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penance and sacrifices according to Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many times after taking his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly planets for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals, nor it is possible to study all of the Vedanta and Upanishads thoroughly. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purpose of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age.
Yes. So here we are. So Prabhupada is making the point. So the verse says, all purposes served by a small well. Like the Bhagavad Gita is like a small well. Can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Alright? So if you have a huge reservoir of water, then if you have or actually it's the contrary. So the reservoir of water is like Bhagavad Gita, and the Vedas is like a small well, right? So this well will give you, its purpose is to take you finally to liberation. But you have a large reservoir of water, then you can quench your thirst, you can do your laundry, you can have home cooking, you can do everything. And it doesn't dry, right? So Bhagavad Gita is like that large reservoir of water. Main thing is that we should know the purpose behind it, whether it is a large reservoir or a small well. The point is that water is same everywhere, whether it's a large body or a small body. So Prabhupada is saying, if we want to study all the Vedas, all the Upanishad, which could be said to be this large reservoir of water, so many, it's going to be difficult for us. We don't time, everybody's working, right? I say, please come and study with us. Once a week only you manage to make it, right? It requires much time, energy. You say traffic jam, I can't come, it's too late, right? Energy, knowledge, resources, and so it also requires intelligence. Then you say, I don't understand. As soon as we open the book, say, I don't understand, right? So one Bhagavad Gita we are not able to understand if we give all the Upanishad, all the Vedas, you know.
Tell me for my information, how can everybody know Sanskrit?
By reading together with us.
They never knew before Sanskrit.
No, we are reading the shlokas together, that's how we are all learning. Yes. Yes.
But you should know Sanskrit before you start reading this, isn't it? How one can straight away take the right words and pronunciation to the core properly and thoroughly.
So we did it by practice. Yes, go on.
The purpose of the Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar,
Prakashananda Saraswati,
why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist instead of studying Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master has found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author and the knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic
mysticism. So Prabhupada is saying chant Hare Krishna, right? And study Bhagavad Gita, that's sufficient than studying the Vedanta, which is very difficult. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made himself very humble. He says, my Guru Maharaj said, I'm a fool. How can I understand Vedanta? So better you chant. And read Bhagavad Gita, and that's sufficient for us in this Kali Yuga. Alright? So thank you. Hare Krishna. So there is a lecture by Radhanath Swami on the terrace. You can, today, yes.